The email came at 4:47 on a Thursday. I remember the time because I was the one who had set the payroll run for 5, the way I had every other week for 9 years. Subject line, organizational update. 2 short paragraphs. My title was changing. My office was changing. And the woman who would be taking both had been with the company for 5 months. I read it twice. Then I set my phone face down, folded my hands on the desk, and let the floor go on around me. Nobody came over. That was the part that told me everything. A thing like this, and not one person walked the 20 feet to my desk to say it to my face. They sent it to the whole floor and let me read it like everyone else. A few people looked. Most did not. The ones who did looked away fast. Here is the part none of them were thinking about in that moment, and the part that would matter more than all the rest. Every dollar that company paid out, every salary, every bonus, every quiet little raise they had just handed her, still had to pass through me before it left the building. They had not taken my work away. They had only taken my title. And those are very different things. Her name was Dana. She was bright in the way a new coin is bright, and my boss, Mark, could not stop finding reasons to stand near her desk. I had watched it build for months, the way you watch weather come in off the water, slow and then all at once. I said nothing. Saying nothing was a skill I had spent a whole career sharpening. By Friday, they had moved her into my office. My nameplate was already in a drawer. Someone had boxed my files and stacked them by the copier, the way you stack things you mean to deal with later and never do. One of the younger analysts could not meet my eyes when I walked past. I took the smaller desk by the window without a word. Mark told the floor it was a lateral move. He used the phrase fresh energy. People nodded the way people nod when they are relieved it is not them. I did not cry in the parking lot. I want to be honest about that because people expect that part. I sat in my car, and I felt the anger settle into something colder and more useful. And then I drove home and slept better than I had in weeks. What Mark never understood is that a comptroller is not a decoration. I was not the person who counted the money. I was the person who approved it. And he had just handed me every reason in the world to start reading the numbers very, very closely. So I did my job. That was the entire plan. I want to be clear about that because people expect revenge to be loud, and this was the opposite of loud. I came in early. I signed what crossed my desk. I kept the ledger the way I always had, clean and dated and complete. But now I read everything twice. It did not take long to find the first thread. Dana's salary had been entered 3 weeks before her promotion was ever announced. Then the second thread. Her expenses ran through a vendor account Mark had opened himself, one I had flagged a year ago and been told to leave alone. There were dinners. There was a hotel in March, billed as a client off-site for a client that did not exist. Small things. The kind of things that hide easily when everyone assumes the person checking the math has finally stopped caring. I had not stopped caring. I made copies. I kept every date. I matched every invoice to a calendar and every payment to a signature. I built the file the way I build everything. Quietly, completely, and without a single word to anyone. There was a morning I almost said something. Mark made a joke in a meeting at my expense and the room laughed, and I felt the words rise in my throat. I let them sit there. Then I went back to my little desk and added 2 more pages to the folder. Patience is just anger that has learned to keep records. Every week, Mark walked past my window desk and felt like he had won. And every week, the folder in my drawer grew a little thicker. The quarterly review was 6 weeks out. The full board would be there. The same board that had signed off on my work without a second glance for 9 years. Mark was set to present the department numbers. He asked me, almost as an afterthought, to prepare the financials for him, to do the work, and let him stand up and read it. I said, of course, I meant it. I prepared them perfectly. Every figure correct, every page in order. I just prepared a second set of pages too. The morning of the review, I came in early, the way I always did. I set a folder down at every seat along the long table. Then I sat in the small chair against the wall, the one they had left for me, and I waited. Mark started his presentation. He made it 3 slides in before a board member opened her folder and stopped him with a raised hand. She asked him to explain the vendor account on page 4, then the offsite that never happened on page 6, then the salary dated before a promotion that did not yet exist. The room went very quiet. Mark looked at me. I looked back. I did not say anything cruel. I did not need to. I simply said that the records were all there, dated and complete, and that I would be happy to walk the board through any of them. So I did. Calmly. 1 page at a time. I did not raise my voice once. The numbers did all the shouting for me. They were both gone by the end of the day. Mark was walked out by security at 4:47. I noticed the time. The same time the email had landed, 6 weeks before. Dana followed about an hour later. Her things in the same kind of box mine had been stacked in by the copier. Nobody walked the 20 feet to say anything to her either. The board asked me to stay. They asked me actually to take Mark's office. I told them I was fine where I was. The small desk by the window has good light, and from it I can see the entire floor. I find I like seeing the whole floor. People think the quiet ones do not notice. We notice everything. We just decide very carefully when to speak. I still set the payroll run every Thursday at 5 home. Every dollar still passes through me before it leaves the building. It always did.